Welcome. Já começou? Welcome everyone. This is the Full-time MBA webinar. The idea here is to present to you a little bit about our school and about our program. And that's why we host this webinar in one of our training centers so that you can already envision part of the experience of the program. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I'm the Vice Dean for the Full-time MBA. My name is Roberta Campos. I'm a former full-time MBA student from the cohort 96. I had executive experience in big consumption good companies like Unilever, SC Johnson, and Coca-Cola. And then I came back to the academic world to follow further studies in social science and in business in PhD levels, both in Brazil and in France. And since 2012, I joined COPPEAD as a faculty member and have been coordinating the program for over 2 years. So I'm very glad to be the one that's presenting this program to you because this program had a big impact in my life as well. The idea with this webinar is to cover 3 main topics. The first one is to present you our school and our university as well. We are part of the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, which is a public federal university in Brazil. Also, I will cover the course structure, the program, how it works, and finally, all the details regarding applications, how you should gather your information and the scores and everything that you have to present to apply for the program and to successfully join the program as well. So, COPPEAD is part of the Federal University of Rio. The Federal University of Rio is the first and most traditional one in Brazil, the largest one as well. We have over 50,000 students from undergraduate to PhD in all domains, medicine, economics, social science, mathematics. It's really a very, very large university. And that's normally on the top levels of all rankings in Brazil. Our school is a very traditional school that exists since '73. So we have almost this year we have 46 years of existence. We are very traditional, a school that has been delivering its programs with a lot of consistency over time, with very solid values in how we see education. And that's what I also want to share with you a little bit today. About the history of our school. So I just told you we were born in '73. And since the beginning, we had this preoccupation of balancing theory and practice, doing very good research, interesting research in business and in management, but also bringing this knowledge that's developed by our researchers to the classroom to interact with students, with executive students as well, to apply more relevance to the knowledge that we develop as well. So since the 80s, we adopt the active methodology in training. So we use case method, which is a very important methodology internationally. Several of our professors go to Harvard School to get training on case method, and you're going to see that we are very traditional in this method because in the 80s, we created the first central of production of cases regarding Brazilian reality. In '82, we start the executive programs. '84, we start something that is also very innovative in Brazil, which are the chair programs. The chair programs are funding that we received from private companies to fund several lines of research from our faculty. And nowadays, COPPEAD is probably the school that has the most funding coming from this kind of program to support its research. In 2002, we get listed for the first time in the Financial Times ranking for the full-time MBA, and ever since, we were present at this ranking 11 times already. 2006, we get our first accreditation from EQUIS and EFMD. And in 2015, as a sign of the improvement of our international footprint, our program becomes entirely delivered in English. So all the classes are presented, are delivered to students in English. Before, we used to have 2 tracks, but nowadays, all students, Brazilian and international students, all of them study in English. And in 2017, we are very proud of achieving the grade 6 at CAPES, which is the government regulatory institute for the quality of research. And this 6 is in a scale of 7, and we are the only institution in the federal system that has such a high grade. Regarding our portfolio, we have a very large portfolio in executive training. We deliver solutions even for the young executive professionals, people that are really starting the careers, which are the pre-experience programs. We also have training for executives that are over 10 years of experience. Normally, these programs are not tuition-free. Our full-time MBA is underneath the umbrella of the academic degrees, because this is a degree, this is a program that deliver a degree in the Brazilian system as a master. So we are underneath the academic degree umbrella with the full-time MBA, but also the doctoral program and the undergraduate courses that our faculty collaborate with in the federal university. And we also deliver short courses. And all this portfolio normally is put to work in what we call the COPPEAD Engine, where we make our research that's normally developed inside the academic degrees circulate within the other programs where we have more interaction with the market to get more relevance to the topic that we research. So we are always making theory and practice in dialogue. This is an example of some of the companies that sponsor our research. So we have big companies supporting, for instance, L'Oreal has been supporting my study center, the Center of Studies in Consumption, for over 15 years. We have also the support of Coca-Cola and Fiat. And for instance, we just signed a research chair with CNA for transparency in operations, and several other big brands in Brazil or international brands are supporting our research. Regarding our program, so let's get closer to the full-time MBA and know better this particular program. The full-time MBA is a high standard. We look up to international programs to align with international good standards of quality in business training. But since it's delivered as an academic degree in Brazil, it's a tuition-free program. It's a tuition-free program because we are a public institution, part of the Federal University, and the master program is a tuition-free program offered by this university. And the program, as I already told you, is fully taught in English. Okay, the concept of our program. Our program has a very unique take on how we see learning of business, the learning of business practice. So our program is a full-time MBA. We follow international standards that are very much inclined into preparing our students to go back to the job market and have a very important and positive impact in organizations and in society. So our intention is to have our students going back to the market and following their careers. Some of our students, they remain and they go on their doctoral studies, but we normally train our students to go back to the job market, and you're going to see that we have several career activities in our program. But also our program, since it's an academic degree, and because COPPEAD thinks that research is very important to develop analytical and critical thinking, which is key for a good protagonist position as an executive in all companies, we believe very strongly that research is an important axis of executive training, of business training. So our program combines a master and a full-time MBA in what we say as a hybrid experience, where students will study a lot of theory and apply it into practice through case method and active learning methodologies. Also have national in Brazil experience combined with international experience, not only in our classrooms with international students and exchange students, but also going abroad in one of the 242 schools that we have exchange agreements with. And we also deliver a program that is generalist, so our students will go back to the job market with a generalist view of business, but also will be able to develop a deeper understanding, a deeper expertise in certain domains. Sorry. This is just a quote from a colleague of mine from my cohort saying how he sees this design of the hybrid model, where we prepare our students to go back to the job market, but also invite them to perform an academic research. So he says here that the hybrid model of the COPPEAD Full-time MBA offers a unique perspective to the executive experience. The challenge of developing a research product by ourselves, a full scientific endeavor, improves greatly the analytical mindset and the ability to manage complexity. So the research experience for us is an instrumental, a very important part also of training an executive that will go back to the job market. Okay, concerning the tuition free, I already explained to you before, but COPPEAD is a public institution fully funded by the Brazilian government, and the full-time MBA is an academic degree. So that's why it's tuition free. So the students, they won't pay for the courses. They have just to cover the courses regarding housing, transportation, educational materials like books, and so on, and other additional activities. And regarding scholarship, it is possible that some of our students that they may receive a scholarship from the Brazilian government. There are several scholarships available. Nowadays, just to give you a perspective, maybe 1/3 of the current cohort that's studying now, that just entered this year, they already have the scholarship, which is around 1,500 reais. You have to divide by 4 to see that number in dollars if you need to get a better sense. But what I normally advise the students is not to count on this scholarship, because we are never sure that students might get the scholarship. Okay? Tuition free is sure. This program exists for 46 years and it was never charged, but the scholarship is not under our control, so we cannot promise anything. Okay? It's a possibility. Okay, regarding the journey inside the program. Now it's a moment where I share with you the important pillars of the experience inside the full-time MBA. One very important aspect of our program is excellence. Okay? 100% of our faculty members hold a PhD, they are internationally trained, they normally pursue several courses internationally, and they attend to international conference regularly as well. We also all the time revise our material and use up-to-date reading and cases from several sources like the Harvard database, top journals, materials that are produced by the COPPEAD team. And we are very, very rigorous in the organization and class attendance. It's very, everybody starts to know a little bit about the culture of COPPEAD. A student that is 1 minute late is not allowed inside the classroom. So we are very strict, we are very rigid, because the classroom for a COPPEAD professor is a sacred environment where learning is going on and where interaction has to meet the highest quality of preparation. So that's why we are very strict. We demand that students get prepared, that students read their material, that students prepare the cases, that students arrive on time, so that everybody gets the best experience out of our classroom. Concerning the content, what's delivered in terms of courses, our understanding is that we have to offer a systemic view of management. So we offer a generalist training, but this training is also divided into 4 main areas that will provide mandatory courses and elective courses. So we have courses on financial and managerial control, marketing and international business and consumer behavior, operations, technology and logistics, and also organizations, strategy and information systems. So these are the main axes of our program. This is our course structure. So we have a 2-year program. The first one is very intense in course hours. Students will have to fulfill 660 hours, course hours, where they have to be present in the classroom. And normally we advise students, we suggest students to complete all this demand class hours during the first year of the program, to leave to the second year only the thesis work, which is also very demanding, and the exchange program. Okay, so in term 1 and 2 you have mandatory courses. From term 2 on, the elective courses start. During term 3, students choose their supervisors, and on term 4 they start their thesis project. During the summer of year 2, we have a very interesting project, which is a discipline called multicultural projects. This discipline is delivered in partnership with the San Diego University. So we welcome professors and students from this institution. And our students, along with San Diego students, will work on a short-term consultancy project for real companies in Brazil. So students get a brief, and they will provide solutions and analysis to these companies, and they present to professors and to the companies as well. So it's a very hands-on experience that normally is completed after the first year of courses. Sorry, just a second. Okay, during year 2, we start the research project, and also students are allowed to go on a summer job for 10 weeks. Normally, on the second half of year 2, students go for the exchange program, and when they come back up to February of the 3rd year, they have to present their thesis. And that's where also we hold the networking week, where companies come to COPPEAD to get to know and recruit our students. Sorry about that. This is just an example of some of our courses that were offered on 2018. This offer is all the time revised So some of these courses might have been changed, included or removed, but you have here a broad view of the amount of courses that will be available to you during the first year. Another important pillar of our journey is the full-time experience. This is very different from a part-time master that you might decide to take, because this is a very immersive, intense experience. Normally the class, the cohort, you leave COPPEAD with friends for your life, because you share a lot of hard work and hours here at our school. And I think a very important thing that we get from this immersion is getting a distance from our career for a while. So we can, during this period, sit back, study, and also evaluate what do I want to do with my life and where do I want to work when I come back to the job market. Okay, another important pillar of our experience is the networking. We normally say that COPPEAD students, when they get inside our program, they join a club. Everywhere they go after COPPEAD, whenever they bump into COPPEAD students, former COPPEAD graduates, they will recognize each other. They will, have this this impression that they share something that's very unique, very special, which is this full-time, very intense experience. And they know that they all know that they come from a very they come from a place of high excellence. So normally we see our students keeping this network over several years. This is just a testimonial from a student from the 96 cohort that talks about the networking and how much he always even hired colleagues from COPPEAD because he was sure that he will get a very high quality in terms of people as employees for his business, partners for his business. Okay, I have here, let me just close the program and then I will, because we have a testimonial from a student that I will want to share with you. So I will present the program and then I will share the testimonial. Okay, another important thing is our methodology, how we deliver the knowledge on business and management. We believe that all learning has to be centered in the student. It's what we call active learning. So we very rarely we deliver lectures. Normally we stimulate students to debate and to bring questions and to interact. Most of our classroom experience, or a big part of it, is built around the case method, but not only. And the case method understands that learning or reaching a certain maturity in understanding a certain content has to be conducted through several moments. So for instance, a case that is studied in a certain class, you explore it first individually at home when you prepare the case to the class, and normally you have a lot of guidelines to properly prepare this case. Then students will meet in small groups. That's where they share first impressions, where they have less social exposure, so they can share the ideas that they might not feel so sure about. And then when the entire class comes to the large room to debate, a large room like this one where we are, we can share very different points of view, and we get a very comprehensive, very large, very complex understanding of the topic coming from the student and from the experience that students bring to the table, bring to the class. So we believe that this experience is something that leaves a mark in our students, and that not only is a very efficient way to deliver content, but also it's a very strong method in working on soft skills like negotiation, presentation, interaction, social exposure, leadership, and all these different skills that are so critical thinking, all these skills that are so important in the business environment nowadays. Okay, I already talked to you a little bit about the multicultural projects. The summer job is an internship that students may experience in companies while they stay in the program in Brazil. Also, an important axis of our program is the international aspect of it. So we have 42 exchange agreements with top business schools in all continents. And normally I say that our international experience, it has two dimensions. The first one, which is the vertical one, let's say, it's the classroom experience here at COPPEAD. So our classroom is international because we have international students, because we speak in English, and because we use all the material in English and with international examples, Brazilian but also international examples. But also students have another layer of international experience when they go abroad for the exchange and also when they welcome foreign exchange to the program. In some semesters where we receive the exchange students from our partner schools, we sometimes double the size of our class with these students. Okay, this is just some examples of, not examples, this is the real list of our exchange partners all over the world. So in the Americas, Europe, Africa, Asia, and in Australia. I already discussed a lot the role of research and how highly we think of research as a tool to prepare for the business world. Also research is a very important individual project inside the program that can offer several interesting experiences for the students. So, for instance, I'm sorry, this is Natalia. Natalia worked on a certain kind of beauty influencer, and she developed the concept of the 2.0 critic. She has written a paper about it, and she presented in 3 conferences, 2 in Brazil, 1 in São Paulo, 1 in Rio, and 1 in Denmark in 2018. So Natalia was there presenting her master research at this conference, receiving feedback from very experienced researchers for her work, and now her work has been accepted in a journal to be published for the academic community to read it. So I think it's a very interesting experience as well in preparing something, your take, your approach on thinking about an aspect of the business world. Okay, when our students are back to the job market after they present their thesis, there are several activities that will take place. This is, for instance, examples of some of our alumni that are there with high impact in the world. So, for instance, Felipe is now part of the INSEAD faculty member. Henrique Meirelles was a former finance minister. The current CEO for Google in Brazil was a COPPEAD student. Leila Velez, the CEO for the Beleza Natural, which is a very interesting company from Rio de Janeiro that is now gaining Brazil and the world, a big line of hair salons. Andre Chiarini started to work in logistics in very big companies, and now he is an entrepreneur and he has his own company. And Marcelo Picanso is the executive VP for Porto Seguro, and previously worked on consultancy companies very successfully. So if you go and take a look and browse a little bit about who is our COPPEAD alumni, you're going to see the impact of our institution with our former students, our graduates. Okay, regarding career in our program, career is an important part of our program. Since the first term, students start the career development course, where they perform several self-assessments activity to understand which are their strengths, which are their opportunity to improve, which are the areas that they want to work in the future, or the kind of future that they see for their lives. And this starts to help them plan for their trajectory ahead in the program, and also after the program. This course will also take place again twice with particular training on tools to, for instance, develop a CV, deliver a good interview, or prepare a LinkedIn profile. Students will also have the summer job that I already explained. And at the end of the course, we have the networking week, where normally we receive around 30 to 40 companies that come to COPPEAD to present their business to our students, and to get to know our students as well. Our career development course and all the career activities are carried with the partnership of Lee Hatch Harrison, which is a very important global company in coaching, placement, and human resource development and competence development. Okay, so now I would like to share with you a testimonial from one of our graduates from the 2017 cohort, and then we will discuss a little bit how to apply for the program.
My name is Luciana Carvalho. I was born in Brazil, but I've lived in the US for the past 20 years. And when it came time to look for an MBA, I knew that I wanted to go somewhere that had an international feel and could help me reconnect with the Brazilian market. I've worked before on projects for an American company here in Brazil, in Rio actually, and I was already in love with the city, and I knew that I wanted to live here at some point. And when I found COPPEAD, I knew that it fit perfectly with exactly what I needed. I wanted to do an MBA, and when I go back to the market, I know I want to work with companies coming from the US and doing business here, or Brazilian companies leaving Brazil and expanding internationally. I knew that when I finish my MBA, I want to go back to the market and work with companies both coming from the US and doing business in Brazil, as well as Brazilian companies who want to go international and do business abroad. I've had some experience with that, but I wanted to cement that further and make sure that my MBA experience could really help me take that next step, and I know that COPPEAD is preparing me for that.
Okay, so regarding the application, how to apply to the program. First thing, who is our target student? Who is the profile of student that we expect in our program? So normally we are looking for young professionals with at least 3 years of professional experience. If you don't have 3 years of professional experience, you can apply as well. It's not a problem, but we stimulate more to have more experience for the quality of the classroom discussion. And we also expect students that are hard workers and who wish to acquire high quality managerial skills. So we look for students with a solid academic background, with motivation for advanced students. There is a lot of working and studying, and studying overnights and a very intense burden in terms of dedication, mastery of English, and also teamwork skills. Okay, for the program we have 42 places, 42 vacancies, and they are divided into the GMAT, so for the students that prefer to take the GMAT exam, we only allow in the program the students that achieved at least a 550 score at GMAT. So if you got below that, you have to, I suggest you to retake the GMAT because you won't be able to even compete and join the ranking for the program. Another alternative is the Brazilian correspondent test, which is called UNPAD. But for the students that prefer the UNPAD test, they also have to present a TOEFL proficiency as well. So for the UNPAD, we expect a minimum of 400 score and a minimum 90 score for the TOEFL. Okay? Just one information on the description box of this video, you will have the link for the Full-time MBA webpage, and at the bottom of this page, after the full presentation of the program, you will have all the documentations, all the information, very detailed on this public notice. Since we are a public school, this is an exam that has to be very objective and organized because it's a public notice selection. Okay? So how we make the selection? We use two information. The first one is the ranking test scores from GMAT or UNPAD plus TOEFL. But we also use professional experience as an additional variable. So for the candidates that has more than 3 years of proven experience, their scoring results will be multiplied by 1.3. So they get a better position in the ranking if they have more professional experience. For the ones that has experience higher than 0 years, meaning some months of experience up to 3 years, their scoring results will be multiplied by 1.15. And for the ones that have no experience, they have simply their scoring results multiplied by 1. So if you don't have a lot of professional experience, score very high on your tests. That's my suggestion. And if you have professional experience, gather all the documentation to prove this experience so that you can seize the possibility of having your ranking multiplied by the number that corresponds. So regarding key dates, the application is open up to November 21st. For this application, it's very important that you have to upload all the digital required documents. And this is very important because since we are a public institution and we are doing this selection with a public notice, we have to have proof, digital proof, of all the information that you enter in the questionnaire, in the form. So if you state that you have 3-year experience, you have to prove this experience with documents, related documents. So prepare ahead, enter the application, study what you have to upload. Don't leave for the last day because you will be left out. We cannot provide additional deadline for a particular candidate and so on, okay? The publication of the results will be on December 2nd. Then students have 2 days to confirm their enrollment. And in case we have left spots that become free, we present a new list of results with students that can be now part of the program. They have up to December 9th to confirm their enrollment. And we have up to February 6th to deliver all the documents and to come to COPPEAD to sign the enrollment form. Okay? So there is this up to February 6th, you will need to come in person to COPPEAD to sign the form and deliver your documents in the original. In the link that I told you to read very carefully, you have all the information regarding all this. Classes start on February 10th. Regarding documents, okay, so which are the main documents that you have to be very, very, careful not to forget? So we need the test scores. These test scores, they need to have 2 years of validity. The updated CV, bachelor diploma, because we can only receive students with bachelor diploma since it's a master degree. For the enrollment where you have to deliver the final documents, these copies have to be certified. Supporting documents for professional experience obtained after undergraduation. One important thing, professional experience will only be counted after the after graduation of your bachelor diploma. So if you graduate on December and you worked before, this experience doesn't count for the sake of this public notice. Okay? It only counts after the date you graduate from your undergraduate course. Okay. Deadline for this, I already told you, November 21st. So organize yourself to get everything prepared up front. Documents to prove professional experience. So work contract, technical term of responsibility, invoice indicating the applicant as service provider. One important thing, always be sure that this information, for instance, if you deliver an invoice, that it indicates the dates, the periods where you worked, because sometimes we get an invoice and we don't understand to which period of working time it refers to. So sometimes we can only use the month of the invoice to count as professional experience. So be very careful to provide very detailed information for us. Social contract that states the participation of the applicant in an organization. Payment receipt of any work carried by the applicant. Certificate of period of activity of official department of a certain company. Statement of an institution where the applicant worked. Okay. The electronic registration. Applicants deemed suitable to apply are those who hold an undergraduate degree duly registered in accordance to provisions stipulated by law. So here I'm talking about the undergraduate degree, right? So I need a bachelor undergraduate degree, and you can deliver it in several forms. You have the degrees that are approved by the Brazilian government, which is CAPES/MEC, the Minister of Education in Brazil, or a validated graduation course diploma issued by a foreign institution, or that hold an undergraduate course diploma issued by a foreign institution duly acknowledged by the Ministry of Education or similar body in the country where this degree was issued. And finally, I just want to invite you to get to know a little bit more about Rio and Brazil, if you want to go further. But Rio, per se, is a very, very special city to get to know better, with a wonderful nature. Students normally enjoy very much this part of Rio, visiting the forest, the beaches, the lake, also soccer, carnival, the exotic food and fruits, and the art. So it's a city that is worth considering to be spending 1 year and a half, 2 years of your life, because it's going to be an awesome experience, personal experience as well. So I will take any additional questions if you have. You can type, and then Okay, so that's all I wanted to share with you today. I thank you for your attention, and we are also at your disposal to offer any further information that you feel you need. Okay? Thank you. Have a nice day.